Red would always say revelation is progressive.
Yeah.
You hear, sometimes you hear all of the instructions, sometimes you get bits of it. So some people, they get the instruction, they step out and they immediately step up. But there's the trust aspect of it that if God does tell me to step out, then definitely there's a stepping up waiting for me in front.
Hello, Praise.
Hi, Nathaniel.
Oh, fine. Tell me, what's the local name for Praise?
Inyolua.
Oh, and Nathaniel have to be God's gift.
Yes, that's
Well,
important.
welcome you all. We are in the month of stepping out and stepping up. Today's sermon was insightful. Do you know that?
Was a lot.
Papa made one basic ingredient that is required before you step out, which is faith. And he made mention of Abraham, the father of faith, that for Abraham to step up, the first thing he did was to step out in faith.
Yeah.
Even though he did not know where he was going, God told him, I will show you a place where you go. And he believed. And that is also in our life. For us to have this change that we are passionate about, that we care about, we need to step out in faith. Yeah. So what do you say to that?
So I think I fully agree with you because if you look at it, Red would always say revelation is progressive.
Yeah.
You hear, sometimes you hear all of the instructions, sometimes you get bits of it. And Abraham is a very good example, like you mentioned, because God told him to step out, but with a promise that he was going to step up. You get. So some people, they get the instruction, they step out and they immediately step up, but there's the trust aspect of it that if God does tell me to step out, then definitely there's a stepping up waiting for me in front.
Yes, and there's another point Rev also mentioned today, which I want us to take together. He said something. He said, your location is strategic to your location.
Yeah.
Which means where you are determines where you get. A good example in this economy we are now is that if you're supposed to be spending great pound sterling and you are spending naira, so if you look at the conversion rate, do you know how long you work?
It's going to be a lot.
You will suffer, you will work. So we need to be smart about it and be intelligent about it. It does not always mean we need to relocate. It might be where we are working.
Yeah.
It might be the relationship we are keeping.
Yes.
It might be the way we do our business. Things need to change. And he said we evolve. Life is all about evolving. We evolve. We grow past every aspect of our life, which I think is very key in our today's lesson also.
Yes, very, very. I think one other thing that stood out for me in this service was when you mentioned that stepping out and stepping up, you have to let's step out and step up, you have to look beyond sight and look at vision. And I think that speaks to my life personally because I think God has been taking me a journey through, light basically and learning to understand to see things from God's perspective. So these days when something happens around me, I'm like, okay, I want to rant to God. I'm like, this happened. I don't like that this happened. This is what I see. However, what do you see? And that just speaks to sight and vision because it's only God that can give you that vision and says, okay, this is what you see, right? And your feelings are valid, right? But then this is what I see in this. And just brings you to a place of rest and trust, basically.
That's, from what you mentioned, that's the example of Joseph you gave. He said, Joseph, if you look at the book of Genesis chapter 37, verse 9 and verse 5 and 9, he made mention that Joseph dreamed, which you have to do that. You have to see it and you live it.
Yeah.
Most of us, and he said, life is about self-prophecy. Whatever you want in your life, you prophesy. Whatever you want to say, you say it. If you don't say it, if you don't imbibe it, there is no way you can get about it. So it has been a real month of insight, vision for you to see that if you think where you are is the best place, there's a better place where God can take you. And the good example is Joseph. And he made mentions about Joseph that even in his darkest place, God is with him.
His presence was there.
Even when he was in the cell, God was with him. So making us understand, which I've always put in my life also. In every situation, in every aspect, God has showed himself to be a true working father and a loving father to get it.
And then he made reference to, Job.
Yeah.
The main point in this was he was saying that we should always stay conscious of God's presence, basically. And then it took us to a particular chapter where in this verse, Job was saying God is not here. But in the next verse, it was like, okay, God is a constant, basically, in our life. So if something is not seeming like it, then it's not God that is not present. Then I'm the one that is not seeing it. And I think this took me back to a particular lesson God took me through a few years back when I was going through the story of, when Mary and Joseph took Jesus to Jerusalem when he was 12, and then they had traveled for 3 days.
Yeah.
They didn't realize that Jesus was not with them. They had to go back
Back.
to get him. And one
That's
of the
right.
lessons that God took me through that is, understanding that sometimes God is waiting for you in an instruction, that he last gave you. And Rev was like, if you feel like you can't see God right now, you feel like you can't hear God, go back to his previous instruction. And that's basically what Mary and Joseph did. They had to go back to the last place they saw him, which was back to Jerusalem. Now, if they had stayed more conscious, they wouldn't have had to travel 3 days without Jesus. So they had to go back. So basically staying conscious, I'm like, okay, am I in his will? Rev also said the perfect place in earth is being at the center of God's will.
Yeah.
Basically.
So basically, I feel for us to step out and for us to have step up, the basic thing in the recap is we need to step out in faith and believe that wherever we go, God will give us a wonderful ending. We might not see what the ending look like, but we need first to take the first step, which is by faith. If you take the first step by faith, then definitely other things will follow. I think that's the basic thing we've learned today.
Following the instructions per time.
Yes. And he always mentions everything is precept upon precept, lines upon lines. Step out will lead to step up. You can only step up if you step out in faith.
Yes.
That's it. Okay, well, for me, I think this month has been insightful. So I'd like to throw it to you to please share with us, how has it been like? What has the message impacted in your life? What have you gotten? How has it helped you? Who has it helped? Just share with us. We'd like to hear.
Yes, that works. You can just put the comments, leave a comment in the comment section below.
Yeah. So for me, this month, I'm stepping out.
I'm stepping up.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of GraceCast. If you've enjoyed this episode, kindly visit our page so you see previous episodes. You stay updated on what has been thought the last few weeks, right? Kindly like, comment, leave a thumbs up basically, and subscribe to our page. Turn on the notification bell so you get notified when we release new episodes.
Don't forget to share. Share
with your friends, share with your family, your colleagues, your co-workers, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Blessings.